In this video, we'll explore exporting our Illustrator documents to different formats for being able to use these files for print or to save for the web and screen usage. I opened up my document from Lab 24, combining shapes to use for this lab. So I can save this document into a new folder, File, Save As. I'll navigate into my USB drive, into my Adobe Design Suite folder, and make a new folder titled 26-AI-exporting. Open up that folder and you'll keep your last name in the document. Change the number to 26-export.ai. Save. OK. Now we know when we're saving our documents and we go up to File, Save As, we have the options of Adobe Illustrator, PDF, EPS, Illustrator Template, and Svg Files. So these are working formats that we can make changes and save as we go along. There's other ways that we can export these graphics to use on the web that would be non-working files. What it will actually do is transform your image from a vector image to a bitmap image to be used on the web. So we're going to start with exporting for web. So go up to the File menu, Export, Save for Web, Legacy. And you have the option to see the original document, optimize, and 2-up, which I prefer so that I could see the original next to the new exported file that I'm creating. Up in the upper right hand corner, you have a choice to choose between a GIF file, which will support animation. It will also support up to 256 colors, and it also supports transparency. Jpeg is the standard format for images used on the web. It's going to retain all of our color information. It does compress your file size, which makes it more compatible to use on the web. And JPEGs do not support transparency. And then we have Png-8 and Png-24. So those numbers are in reference to the colors. So the Png-24 is going to support millions of colors. Png-8 gives you a slightly more limited color table, 256 colors. PNGs also support 1 layer of transparency, but all of these formats are compatible with the web and are good options to use. You have a transparency checkbox, so if you do want to support your transparency, you would want to check that. You can create your new file with a new image size in pixels. So if you knew the measurements for your new document, you could put them in right there. Otherwise, you could use a percentage to scale the size of your document. For this file, let's export as a JPEG at 50%. And I can see I have a solid white background around this new image that I'm about to export because it is a JPEG and it's not going to support transparency. Click the Save button and you'll navigate into folder 26, AI exporting, and you can keep the file name exactly the same. It has a different file extension, so it won't overwrite it. I had already saved it in there, so I'm actually overwriting it, but you won't be. And now we can open up that JPEG in Photoshop, and it's been rasterized. So if I bring it down to 100%, it looks nice and crisp, and it's a solid background layer, so there's no transparency. You can see as I zoom in, I'm at 500% here. It does start to get more pixelated and choppy, so you converted that nice sleek vector graphic into a bitmap graphic. I'll go back to Illustrator and save my document. The next format we'll talk about are SVG files, and that stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. SVG files are vector formats, and instead of using a grid of pixels to build up a graphic, it describes images as shapes and paths and text and filter effects instead. And that results in files that are more compact, and they still provide high quality graphics on the web and in print. And also in handheld devices that are resource constrained, so you can magnify the view of these graphics at any scale and still preserve all of the sharpness, the detail, and the clarity of your graphic. To save as a SVG file, we can go up to File, Save As, and change the type to SVG. Click Save. And inside of here, what you can do, you can tell it to embed your image or keep the link if you did have an image placed in there, which I don't for this. So if you want to keep this a working document, you would tell it to preserve those Illustrator editing capabilities. It will make your document a little bit larger in file size. In the lower left corner, you'll see more options. And this is if you want to export any CSS cascading style sheet properties along with your SVG file. So you can choose to make it responsive, and you can actually see the SVG code. If you click that button down there, it will open up just a basic text editor, and it shows me right now the SVG code that it generated. I'll close that, and we can also click on the web browser to view the SVG document, and now I have it open in Chrome. And you could see here, if I resized the browser window, my graphic is scaling along with it. So it's a nice responsive, scalable option. It's not losing any kind of clarity or detail. And I can close that, and we'll click OK. Because I told it to preserve the Illustrator editing capabilities, you'll see that my tab up here did actually change to a .svg file, and that means I can continue to work on this document. The last option I want to talk about are PDF files. if we go up to File, Save As, I'm back into folder 26, and I could change the type to an Adobe PDF. Click Save, and it brings up your standard Adobe PDF dialog box. And just like the SVG format, we can choose whether we want Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities included. We can optimize for fast web view, so if you were to share this, this would make it a more universal format that a lot of people can open on either Acrobat Reader or just have it open up in a web browser to view without having to download. I'll choose to view PDF after saving so we can open up in Acrobat and take a look at it. I'll click Save a PDF, and that also changed my tab in Illustrator to PDF, and it also opened up Acrobat as the PDF file. So because I chose to preserve those Illustrator editing capabilities, though, it's universally able to open in both Acrobat and Illustrator. To submit this file, you'll go back into folder 26 through your Finder or through your folders icon, and you should have 4 files in that folder now: an AI, a Jpeg, PDF, and an SVG. So you're going to select all 4 of those documents, and I'm on a PC right now, so I'll right-click Send to Compressed, Zipped Folder, and it generates a .zipped folder there. You can keep it the same file name, and that's what you'll submit to Canvas. And that completes this tutorial about saving Illustrator vector graphics for the web and for print. Thank you.